What's up, everybody? Well, I got another gameplay video for you guys today, and today we are gonna play some Metro Exodus, well, as soon as I download it anyway, and then we'll get a little gameplay on the main computer here and finish up that game. And then we can move on to the next request or the next game on the list. So, why don't we go ahead and just list off the specs real quick like we usually do. And it's got a 13900KF, a RTX 4090 MSI Gaming Trio. We got a Asus Z790 Gaming E motherboard. We got 32 gigs of 6400 megahertz DDR5 CL32, and then cooling the thing is a custom loop EK Velocity 2 block, and then we got a 420mm radiator, and then it's all powered by a 1600 watt EVGA PSU Platinum. A little overpowered, but it is what it is. Oh, and then some people have been asking, the TV is a LG C1 OLED. It's a 48-inch model, and OLED is awesome. Still no burn-in or anything like that, and the only thing I do to keep it, you know, from burning stuff in is I'll have a background that's got moving stuff, usually like this one, and then I have the icons hidden and I have the taskbar hidden. But that's about all I do. Besides that, I don't care. Like, I had this thing on the whole time I was in the other room and it didn't burn in, guaranteed. So I think people's fears of burning in has long passed. That was certainly a problem before, but it's not really a problem now. It also pixel shifts and moves things around. I've noticed that with my Afterburner. Sometimes it'll be slightly off the screen where I can't see it. Luckily, it shows up for you guys in the video recordings though. And it still shows up enough for you to read it. It's not like it goes away completely. So I was like, oh shit, I can't read the numbers anymore. Anyway though, why don't we go ahead and hop on into the game now? We've been chatting way too long for this intro already. Well, now let's do my main computer here. But before we jump into the actual gameplay, let's just look at the settings, just like on the other computers and the laptop. I'm going to start on low, even though I know it's a little ridiculous for a computer like this, just like it was ridiculous for the secondary computer too, but just seems like some fun, so everybody can see all the different settings. So, now, into the game we go. Well now, let's just start out here with some low gameplay. Now it seems like it started me in a random-ass place, and I gotta remember to up the volume too. Alright. Well, I get a pretty decent FPS. But this game is hard to run, and we're not getting anywhere near full utilization on low. Though, truth be told, I don't think we're going to hit 100% utilization in this game, even when we max it out, but that's just me. Oh, looks like we gotta put a new filter in. Alright, now, let's move on. Well, now, let's move on to medium and see how it does, but first, we of course have to look at the settings, so all I really did was turned on something on the bottom here, tessellation, and besides that, I left everything off for now. And now we can get back into the game. Well, now, it is time for some medium gameplay. So let's just run back to our train, and then we'll start heading towards the little boxcar. Yeah, and it does drop there every single time on every computer. I wonder what's up with that. And then it goes back up. Weird. At least it gets really good FPS considering we're at 4K. We're still only on medium though, and it's only using 50% of the GPU as well, as you can see. This is still a very interesting world in this game, I gotta say. It's like Fallout with Uber graphics in Russia. Oh, filter time. Alrighty, we can now move on. Well now, we're on to high. So let's go look at the settings real quick. I turned ray tracing up to high now. And beyond that, we got tessellation still on and advanced physics on. Although, I don't think you should keep that on. But anyhow, let's hop into the game. Well, alrighty, let's get ourselves some high gameplay now. Oh, we're getting a pretty decent FPS right now. Though, whenever we go to the train and turn around, it always drops. Don't know why. It's just the way the game is, I guess. Alright. Yeah, 100-ish FPS. Still not bad. Not bad at all. Considering this is 4K, we don't have DLSS on or nothing helping it out yet. Well, alright, guys. That is our boxcar, so let us move on now. Well, now it's time for Ultra, so let's look through all the settings here. I turned ray tracing to Ultra, and I left everything basically alone. We'll turn everything else on when we get to Extreme. So now, back to the game. Ultra graphics gameplay time now, so let's do our normal little round that we've been doing this whole time, just to keep things on the same course. Yeah, there's that weird-ass line bullshit.
What are you doing here?
But yeah, that's just physics. I'm almost 100% positive that's that advanced physics setting that I turned on. So I would not recommend turning that on. And then, look at that. Look at that core utilization. Almost all the cores are doing something. There's only a couple not doing anything. So I will give this game this. It's got good core utilization. That's for sure. And still more than playable FPS. Man, these railroad tracks are super fucked. Gotta put another filter in. Oh, I guess the first one didn't count. Okay, well, it's not like it matters anyway. I just quit and I don't think it saves, so I think it's just me using the same filter over and over again. I don't think I'm wasting any. Anyway, though, why don't we go ahead now and move along? Well, now we've made it to maxed out, or extreme mode, whichever you want to call it. So I basically turned everything up to the max. And I don't know why it like lags and stutters so much on this screen, but it doesn't luckily do that in game. I got very worried about that. So we got VRS on and all that stuff on. So now to the game. Well, here we go on maxed out or extreme mode. So let's go and do our little walk. It's almost like a walk down memory lane. We've done it so many times now, but good way to keep it consistent. Stay in the same spot and see how the frames differ, you know? Man, though, this game does look pretty damn good maxed out, that's for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the stuff looks a little dated by today's standards, but still a very good looking game. Oh, it is filter time. It is always filter time. Every time we get to that area. Alright though, why don't we go ahead and move along now? Well now, let's start our DLSS adventure. And we're gonna leave the game maxed out. We'll start our DLSS quality. Now, I did turn advanced physics off because I wanted to test at the time to see if it would stop that godly line going. So, now, let's go back into the game. Here we go, DLSS quality. So let's go around and run around for a little bit here, shall we? Alright, we made it to our little turnaround spot. So now let's head to the little container. And it looks like, well, besides being filter time, it looks like I don't see any more of those weird lines as I move around, so that's pretty good. I think it was the physics. At this point, I hadn't known yet, so now I'm pretty much 100% positive that's what it is. Anyway, though, moving on to the next DLSS setting now. Now it's time for DLSS to be on balanced. But, of course, we'll look at the settings real quick. Again, no physics, because that makes the game do weird-ass shit, and we don't want weird-ass shit. So now, let's hop back to the game now. It is now time for DLSS balanced, so let's just go ahead and walk up and down our little railway path of awesomeness here. But yeah, no. I'm almost 100% positive now that we're looking around. I don't see any more of that weird line going through the water. Do you guys? I think that's all it was. Don't turn advanced setting or advanced physics on. Not worth it. Unless you can deal with the line. Huh. I can still imagine like a train trying to go over that part and just Dukes of Hazzarding it. Here's our gargoyle. And now, of course, it's time to move on to the next DLSS setting. Now it's time for DLSS performance. So let's just look through the rest of the settings. Of course, I left them alone, but this just proves that everything is the same. No advanced physics, though, because that makes stuff goofy. So now, to the game. Here we go, DLSS performance time. So, let's go up and down the railway here. All right, now to the boxcar. There's some of those weird monsters hanging out over there, but I think if I stay far enough away, they won't fuck with me. I don't really have enough ammo to fuck with them right now. All right, we're almost to our boxcar point of going to the next part, so why don't we now go ahead and move on to the last DLSS setting now. Here we go with the last DLSS, which will be DLSS Ultra Performance. Everything else is exactly the same as it were. Exactly no physics, advanced physics either. And now we've reached the bottom, which of course means it's time to get into the game. And now last up we got DLSS Ultra Performance, and then we'll move on to my settings. And then last up, after that, we'll do a little camera and then wrap the video on up. Alright, we've reached our little train where we originally were at. Wonder what that thing is over there. The thing in front looks kind of like a power plant. And then we got a bridge off to our left. Huh. Right, I might see like a train light or something. Alright, now why don't we go move on to my setting. Now, my settings, let's just look over it real quick. We don't need no DLSS, I don't believe, on this computer, but we're just leaving it maxed out basically, except no VRS and no advanced physics. So, now, why don't we go ahead and hop back into the game. Now let's do my settings here. We'll go do our normal little trip to the train and then back to the boxcar, and then we'll move on to camera. Time to head to the boxcar. Alright, here is our boxcar. So now, why don't we go ahead and move on to some camera gameplay. Alright guys, let's get a little camera gameplay in now. We'll start here at our train, go down to that weird like little home made out of a tanker car, and then we'll come on back and call it quits. Still, I'm surprised it can play this game basically maxed out. The only thing I didn't up is the shader thing, because I wasn't 100% sure what that does. But obviously we're getting way more than playable FPS. But as you can see, we got a huge bottleneck here. We cannot get full GPU utilization, so even a 13900KF can't fully utilize a 4090 in certain 4K titles. Though I imagine my older processor would not be handling this so well either. So let's put a new filter in so we don't die. Sounds like a good idea. There's that weird gargoyle guy just flying around. They did a pretty good job with fire. And even the little heat coming off of it, that's pretty cool. Alright, let's go in here just for a second. We got even more fire and heat. Be cool if you could find some of that weird netting people put on those duck hunting stands. Block out some of the wind and whatnot and keep yourself more camouflaged. Alright, let's head back towards our train, and then we'll go wrap the video on up. And it looks like turning physics off did stop that weird mark from going through the water, so just don't use advanced physics if you don't want a weird mark going through your water. And who knows if I would even be able to notice it, if it was on or not. Man, so much frickin' radiation. A train goes over this, they're gonna play Dukes of Hazzard. And then derail, and everyone on the train is probably gonna die. Hell, even these tracks here, even if we could get it unstuck, I don't think you could drive the train down here. Like maybe if you went real slow, but eventually I'm pretty sure it would derail. And half the time you can't go slow in this freaking train, otherwise like the weird zombie things will come and try and eat us all. Now I'm curious if it does, I haven't been paying attention if it's been dropping or not here, but I'm kind of curious if it drops frames here. Because on the laptop and secondary computer, when I turned around here, it dropped. Yep, it drops down to like 60, 65 for a second, and then at least goes back up to 70s and close to 80s. So interesting. Wonder what that's all about. But, with anything, or in any case, I think that's enough footage, so why don't we go ahead and wrap this video on up now. Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for Metro Exodus PC Enhanced Edition, and this computer handled it absolutely flawlessly. It scared me at first. It was kind of stuttery in the beginning menus, and it was even like skipping audio here and there, so I was like, oh crap, I hope it doesn't do that in Gamer for one of the first times. I'm gonna have to do, my main computer can't play a game, and it already kind of failed at another kind of easier game that it should have been able to play, but it kind of was a little stuttery too. I think it was that, what you would call it, Demon Slayer game. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But we are now done with this game, and we can move on to the next game on the list, which I believe is Monster Hunter Rise, which just got released on Game Pass. I'm sure there's some people that want to know how that runs on everything, so I'll probably do that one next unless somebody comes up with another request. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed making it, that is for sure. So until the next video, peace out, guys.